tuning in to Jay's Journey today. I am here to review this really pretty, beautiful looking guitar. It's a Harley Benton, let's see here, CST 24HB TOL BCF. And it's from Thomann in Great Britain, in England. Thomann is a huge musical supply store, and they ship all over the world. But before I get into this guitar, I need to just explain a couple of things. This week, I had a plethora of problems, but one of them being that my main computer that I use for editing and doing a lot of my YouTube videos died on me, pretty much. I think the hard drive's gone on it. Anyway, so that I am trying now to do this I'm going to do this through my smartphone right now. We're looking at, and I've got some sound things hooked up. I don't know if the sound's going to be great or not, but I'm also recording the soundtrack on my little H5 with just some XY microphones like that. I don't want to pick it up and make a big mess in the noise. And just a little setback problem, but I'm still going to air. You'll be seeing this Saturday morning. Thanks for tuning in. And I didn't want to not post something just because I had some technical difficulties, right? Problems come in life all the time. And in the spirit of inspiration in my channel, you know, we also had some automobile problems. Let's see, we're after the holidays. It's a slow time for my business as far as sales go. And you know, so financially I wasn't in a position to just run out and buy a brand new computer. But I will be soon getting that. And for any of you other YouTubers out there that happen to chime in, if you have some advice on what kind of you know, computer I need as far as, you know, graphic cards or you know, memory and things like that that I need to be looking at, I'm happy to do so. Please leave me a comment or share that information with me, because I'm going to be going out and being in the market for that. You know, like I say, it's after the holidays. This is just a slow financial time for me. So I'm going to add that new computer to my wants list. And so today I thought what we would do for this week is, probably almost a year ago, I think, I ordered this guitar from Thomann, and I had seen a bunch of YouTube videos. There's a million YouTube videos about Harley Benton guitars. They're made in China, and they make them especially for Thomann as an affordable line of guitars. And they copy, obviously, if you guitar enthusiasts know, this design is from another famous guitar manufacturer here in the United States. They copy them and ship them to Britain, and then Thomann ships them all over the world. If you get an account online, and you can order them, and a lot of the instruments are just remarkably well made and good for how incredibly inexpensive they are. So when I got this in May, it was 167 euros, which I'm not sure what that is in dollars. I can't remember. I don't have the receipt handy for it. But I really like this guitar. And I don't know about everybody, but all guitar players, but I have a lot of different kinds of guitars. And when I pick up a guitar, it has a certain vibe to it. And even though when I play, I have a certain tone that I always get on any guitar. I can get a little processor and little effects pedals or whatever and run them through, and I can get my similar same sound out of just about any guitar. But this guitar, I really enjoy it when I pick it up, kind of lends itself to, for me, a bluesy or a jazzy vibe. You know, and you can turn the tone down, you know. You know, so it's a kind of a little chunky. Anyway, it's just kind of jazzy. It's got a jazzy look to it to me. Similar to the Gibson's ES335s. I think this was originally the probably PRS. This is a copy of I think a PRS, Paul Reed Smith guitar. And I don't know how, you know what, this is something I was thinking about recently. I saw yesterday Donald Trump signed some kind of trade agreement with China. And I think when I was reading about it, it said something about they weren't going to be able to knock off or steal a lot of our intellectual property from the United States and, you know, redistribute it or sell it or whatever. That might affect something like this if they implement that through customs. As it is when you order guitars now over through the internet or whatever, when it ships in the United States, you can't have rosewood. And this guitar, actually they call it rosacer or something. It's like a different, close to rosewood, but not quite. So it doesn't violate any of those customs violations or customs rules, regulations. So that being said, I'm going to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this, and I had to write down, you know, a lot of the specs for this because it's a lot to remember. So this is the Harley Benton, and it says Deluxe on the back. I'll show you all this stuff here anyway. We'll get into that. It's a CST 24 HB. That stands for hollow body, I believe. TOL, I can't remember what that stands for. BCF is black cherry finish on it. And I just love this black cherry finish. It's really pretty. Let me take it off here and show it to you. Hopefully this is still doing this, but you can see the finish. It's gorgeous. It's got Wilkinson, those are the Wilkinson MWCHB humbuckers in there. And these are the F-hole. It's a mahogany top and back, and it's got an inset neck. Kind of like my Les Paul, my 1969 Les Paul has that too. It's got that inset neck. It's not bolted on or anything. It's set right in there. And the neck is also mahogany. And then the fretboard, like I said, I think is, they call it rosacer. Maybe I'm not saying that right. I don't know. It's got the Wilkinson pickups. It's got a 3-way toggle switch. But it also has a cool item. It's got a coil split. You pull that up there, and it gives it a little bit of cleanness and brightness. I'll demonstrate that in a minute. For kind of that crystalline, spanky sound. It's a very, I find this to be a very versatile guitar as far as sounds go. It doesn't quite capture the crystalline spankiness of a Fender Strat or a Telecaster. That's a very unique sound to that. But I think it can mimic the Gibson Les Paul sounds and the 335 kind of sounds. And then with that coil tap, it does get a little bit brighter. So you could, you know, use it for some different things that require that brighter end, you know. Like I say, I could play an entire gig with this guitar. And for the price, it was unbelievable. Now, I did take it to get it set up. There's some things that some negative things about it. I mean, you gotta expect that for the price point. It's not perfect. But it has great tuners on it. These are machine heads. They are die cast, as all they say. I don't know if they're I think they're DLX is the name of the brand. And I think DLX also makes this this wraparound bridge. Now this is one of the features I'm not real happy with, the wraparound bridge. I did take it to a luthier or to a guitar shop to have some setup work done on it. It had a little bit of fret sprout, still does a little bit of fret sprout on it, and it's not completely smooth. It's not bound on the edge, as you can see, but it does have this binding around the body, which is very handsome, really good looking, and it's pretty. And it also has this beautiful mother of pearl tree of life inlay in it, which I really think is cool looking on the neck. And reason that when I got this guitar, I mean, it was pretty much the aesthetics that attracted me to it. I thought, oh man, that's just such a pretty guitar. I just love the way it looks. And they've got it says right up here, Deluxe. I don't know if you can see that. Deluxe Harley Benton is their brand name. I don't think it's probably, who knows, you know, in the future, in 30, 40 years, will they be collectible? I don't know. They're not that well made, but I mean, surprisingly, for the price, it's just unbelievable. And the sound is pretty good. So with this wraparound bridge, what I was talking about, I didn't like it too much. After I brought it to the luthier, he did some work on it, and I felt it was playing okay, and the action was right and everything. However, I found that these have individual intonation bars on them, where you can adjust these a little bit. The B and the G string are set back, offset a little bit from the other ones. I don't know if you can see that or not on there. Let me bring that up there so you can see. I don't know if that's even visible on there. But they're a little different level. And they have little set screws right in the front under here. And then there's a set screw behind each one of the poles. And what I had to do to get the intonation right, because even after I got it back from the guy at the shop, maybe he didn't know, I don't know, it was the high strings were a little bit flat, or a little bit sharp, I think. Excuse me. They're good now. They're pretty good now. But I had to take that bridge and kind of make it go one, adjust it to move a little bit like that, like off, like this would be parallel perfect to the nut or whatever. I had to kind of make it offset a little bit. Maybe the poles were put in not perfect or something, I'm not sure. But I had to do that and adjust it so that it comes back off the pole pretty far. It's just a minor thing that, you know, an engineering thing that I'm sure that out of a run of these, you know, each one has a little different problem or something. I mean, I think the quality control is pretty good. And the fret sprout and the thing on the neck, I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, think about it. They make them in China and then they ship them to Great Britain. And then the Thomann people at the Thomann, they have their own facility there where they work on guitars and check everything out, instruments. They have a guy that gets in there and they pull it out and they set it up. They do some adjustments if needed, and they inspect the instrument before they ship it over to the United States. And when it gets here, for some reason, it has to go all the way, I think, to California for customs or whatever. And then it goes to where I live in the middle of the country, where Denver, Colorado area, where it's very dry and, you know, very low humidity here. And it's been through all kinds of temperature changes and humidity changes and whatever. So I'm sure this wood here, you know, dries out or in the fret sprout or, you know, I mean, so it goes through a lot before it gets into your hands. And I would recommend when you first buy one of these guitars, before you bring it in, because you're going to be excited to play it and stuff, and you're going to know if there's something off on it and it's not perfect for you, and you want to get some adjustments done, let it acclimate to where you live for a week or two. Just, you know, leave it out of the case and, you know, see what happens, and then bring it to your luthier and have them do the adjustments. Because, you know, guitars, you know, they're wood and they're things, and they move around, and they're living, breathing kind of things, you know. they had, I think it was Diodario strings on there. I can't remember, but I always get a new set of strings. I take it to Luthier, get a new set of strings, and I usually use Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. That's my kind of thing of choice, but that's just me. And but what I do like about it, I mean, it lends itself great to jazz. I'm on the neck pickup right now, and I've got the tone backed off to give it that kind of jazzy, muted sound to it. So anyway, that, and then you've got that coil tap. Let me see what's help. I'll turn the tone up a little bit too. I'm hoping that you can hear that. And that's the now there's the middle pickup. The middle is a combination of both pickups, so actually cleaned it up a little, brightened it. And these got good output, these humbuckers. I've got it on a very clean setting right now, just to give you an idea of the sound. I don't know how the sound's projecting through this, because I had to set up a really kind of weird sound, but I am recording everything on the H5, Zoom H5 with the 2XY mic. So, you know, depending on how the soundtrack comes out, and I don't know what kind of editing, I have my laptop for business right now going, and I don't know what kind of editing software how this is all going to turn out. This is an experiment, and it's a learning experience. You know, always there's an opportunity when you have adversity in your life. It's always an opportunity to learn how to deal with whatever it is. So, and I'm new to this YouTube thing, so I'm learning a lot. So bear with me on that. So, but I hope you can hear the differences in tone. Like when I go from this rhythm pickup, so I'll play a G chord, and then I'll go to the middle. You can hear the brightness. Now I'll go to the bridge pickup. Much brighter, much brighter. And then when you get that coil tap in there, it pulls some of the I don't know, volume out of it, but it cleans it up a lot. And then you put it in the middle, you can almost an acoustic sound. It's really cool. And then, kind of a country brightness sound to it. Like I say, it's very versatile in the tones that it has. I don't know if I could play funk with it. It doesn't have the spankiness for that, but it's in the middle. I kind of like mine a little bit more crunchy. Let me put it on the crunchy channel here. I'm just using my little line 6. This is going to be with some distortion. We'll put it on that rhythm pickup first and see it. Kind of got that deep sound, like a Les Paul maybe. Middle cleans it up a bit. Put it on the, there you go, you got that rock and roll crunch sound now. I mean, it's got like a lot of versatility, I think. That's that little line 6 out of the distortion on that ain't. It doesn't represent like a nice tweed amp or a Vox or something cranked on 10, and then just turn up this all the way and get that kind of a crunch. But he's got enough output on these pickups that they could probably give you a pretty decent sound to it. I just don't know what to say. I love playing this guitar, even though it's a cheap guitar, or I shouldn't say that word, cheap. It's an inexpensive guitar, made inexpensively, and so I think for a beginner, gosh, this would be a great guitar. If I'd had this when I started, my first guitar, I remember my first electric guitar was called a Leonardo, was the name of the brand, and I'm trying to think of what it looked like. I don't know if I even have any pictures of it. I don't know where it went. I can't remember how I lost that guitar. I think we moved one time or something, and I was away from home. The same thing happened I had one of those Bobcats. It was, I can't think of the brand. It's not Silvertone, but, oh gosh. Anyway, it was a Bobcat, and it had the 2 pickups on it, and I got a picture of me playing that actually in like 1974 or something. They had microphonic pickups. I loved that guitar. It actually had a pretty cool sound. And, you know, again, you take an amp, you turn it up. They did feedback a little bit. But you turn it up on 10 and it gave you a nice crunch, really good rock and roll sound. The neck was kind of small, and I have kind of small sausage fingers, so that was good. Anyway, on this guitar, back to the specs, like I said, it has a Rosacer fingerboard, mahogany body and neck, mother of pearl inlay on it, the ivory binding. Oh, it got a graphite nut, which is kind of a nice feature on there, so you don't get your strings binding up and sticking a lot, you know. And the Wilkinson humbuckers, the 3-way switch. I kind of went through everything. These neck sizes, they got them in millimeters, and I'm not sure. It's 24 frets on the neck going up, and they say it's 635 millimeter scale. I don't know if that's a Fender scale or a Gibson scale, or probably bigger. It feels bigger than it feels longer than my Les Paul, so maybe it's a little bit longer than the Gibson one. And the width of the nut is 42 millimeters right here. It's a little bit fatter than some of my Fender, like my Fender Telecaster neck, which is, I know you can get with all different kinds of necks on guitars they come with. This one's a little bit fatter this way. It seems pretty flat. I don't think there's any radius or anything to the neck, which is okay. I kind of like that. I just really enjoy playing it. Again, 167 euros, you can't go wrong. If you go to Thoman's website, you can explore all kinds of different guitars, instruments, and they're fairly inexpensive. Like I say, they ship them. I'm trying to think, it took about 3 weeks, I want to say, to get it, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I think it spends about a week in customs, or has to go through customs. I don't know what they do there. But anyway, just wanted to share this with you. I know there is all kinds of Harley Benton reviews online. This is just my personal experience with one. I did have another one. I did get another one. It was a Mustang copy of a Fender Mustang. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say those, but that's what it reminded me of. And it had some issues with the intonation down low, down here where you get your open chords. I didn't like when I was playing down here. Yeah, it was all sharp and weird and stuff. And so I thought I would be my own luthier because it was such an inexpensive guitar. I pulled the nut out and started filing down on the strings and things like that, trying to figure out how to make the intonation right down there. Probably what all needed to happen was just a little relief on the neck, or who knows what. But I goofed up that nut. I went and bought another nut, goofed that one up. So I'm about ready to bring it in and pay somebody to just put in a new nut and get it playing right and stuff. But again, for these Harley Benton guitars, I know there's other inexpensive brands out there too. So thank you for tuning in this week. Like I say, we'll see how this all turns out. Hopefully I'll get my new computer soon, and maybe, you know, some new YouTube equipment. I'm looking to try to get some cameras and stuff, and keep bringing you good content every week. I hope this is something that you enjoy watching. Leave me some comments. Ring the little bell for notifications so you know when I posted something. Like my page, it helps a lot, and share it. That helps a lot too. So I appreciate it. And until next week, this is Jay's Journey signing out. Have a great week.